Every time I think I've run out of things to say in this series of videos, the Trump administration has somebody show up and provide me with more material. Today what I want to talk about is the use of crime statistics to create racist impressions in the United States of America. This morning and today, Attorney General Bill Barr gave testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, and in his opening statement he said something I found interesting and hypocritical at the same time. Number one, he said we have to treat people as individuals, and then almost in the same paragraph he started talking about statistics and suggesting that the African American community and the African American people as a whole had problems they had to solve before they should be looking for or calling for reforms to the way in which the police behave. This is a commonly used racist trope in an attempt to silence African Americans speaking out about other injustices. And it goes like this: African Americans kill more African Americans than anybody else, and therefore African Americans should take care of their own problems before they go looking to solve problems outside their community. Well, there are a number of things about that that are just inherently ridiculous. And the first has to do with math. Okay, so math is a challenge for me, but I'm gonna run this by you here real quick, and I have some numbers here written down. So in 2018, the FBI reported that police in the United States had arrested 4,778 African Americans for murder. 4,778 African Americans arrested for murder out of an African American population in 2018 of 42,671,138 people. So of that population of African Americans, 4,778 were arrested for murder. So if you divide 4,778 by 42,671,128, you come up with this percentage, 0.00011%. Which, if my math is right, and it may not be, means that 1 out of every 10,000 African American people was arrested for murder in 2018. 1 out of every 10,000. That's what we're talking about. So when you see people like Attorney General Barr talking about, how African American communities are beset by crime and there are all these horrible things, and they're trying to paint the African American communities as incredibly violent places to either dismiss criticism of the police for racist killings of African Americans by policemen, or to justify police treating African Americans as though they are inherently violent people, you see how this statistic is used in a racist way. By focusing on percentages instead of focusing on actual numbers of African Americans engaged in these activities, it gives a false impression. It gives a racist impression. The second part of this that is racist is this idea that the African American community is supposed to be able to solve this problem on its own. That somehow they're supposed to, convince one another not to murder one another. Now, how exactly is the African American community as a whole supposed to identify that 1 out of every 10,000 people and convince them not to murder someone of their own race? A third thing that this statistic ignores is the idea, is the fact that these African American communities don't exist inside a bubble. They are not sealed communities. They're affected by policies and things that take place around them. So, for instance, racist policies which lead to higher levels of poverty among African Americans mean that African Americans are more likely to live in poverty, and we know that there is a real correlation between people who live in poverty, regardless of their race, and violent crime and murder. In other words, if we look at murder statistics across racial lines and we factor in poverty levels or income levels, we find that African American people are not really more likely to kill other African American people than white people who are in the same socioeconomic bracket are to kill white people. That it's not a race problem, it's a poverty problem. That it's not a race problem, it's an availability of guns problem. That these then are the actual policies that create this problem, and it's not a matter of culture, it's not a matter of group behavior, it is a matter of policies, and to suggest otherwise is inherently racist. Then finally, I just wanted to point out that to suggest that African Americans have to solve one problem before they can address the white population to try to solve another, that other problem being the problem of police killings of African Americans, is just inherently ridiculous. It is as though, as my son said earlier today, as though we're looking at them and say, look, you've got to deal with this problem before we'll help you deal with the other problem. We can deal with and address multiple problems at once. And so to suggest that crime among African Americans, in which one African American kills another, means that African Americans don't have the right to complain about police killings of African Americans is ridiculous, and it places a standard on African Americans and African American communities that A, they can't possibly meet, and that B, is an unreasonable standard, and C, is based on racism. So there you go. There are my thoughts about how crime statistics and how they're used to perpetuate systemic or institutionalized racism in the United States. I look forward to your comments in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.